There is a silent, microscopic war raging within your veins at this very second. The ancients believed with absolute certainty that the life of the flesh is in the blood, a sacred, flowing river of divine energy. But what happens when that vital river becomes a stagnant, toxic swamp? You wake up exhausted, your joints ache with an unseen fire, your skin loses its vibrancy, and a heavy, suffocating fog wraps around your mind. Modern society will tell you this is simply the cost of aging, a normal biological decay to be managed with synthetic chemicals and lifelong prescriptions. But the high priests, the mystics, and the ancient temple healers knew a terrifying truth. Your blood is actively absorbing the slow, insidious poisons of a fallen world. You are breathing in heavy metals, consuming microplastics, and absorbing endocrine disruptors that thicken your life force into a sluggish sludge. Welcome to Lone Oak Remedies, the sanctuary where we resurrect the lost, sacred protocols of antiquity to heal your mind, body, and spirit from the inside out. Today, we are unlocking the heavy, bronze doors of the ancient temples to reveal the sacred botanicals. The profound, earth-bound miracles used by kings and prophets to aggressively cleanse the blood, flush out systemic toxins, and restore the divine purity of your internal rivers. To understand the profound power of these temple herbs, we must first recognize the heavy burden your liver and kidneys bear every single day. They are the grand filters of your temple, but when they are overwhelmed by the unnatural chemistry of the modern age, they begin to fail. The toxins spill over, entering your bloodstream, circulating endlessly, and depositing themselves deep within your organs and tissues. The ancient healers did not have microscopic blood panels, but they possessed a profound, observational genius. They knew how to pull this deep-seated venom from the flesh. Our journey into this hidden knowledge begins with a plant so spiritually and physically powerful it was demanded for the highest rituals of purification. In the Book of Psalms, the desperate cry echoes through time, "Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean." Hyssop was not merely a symbolic branch used to sprinkle water, it was a potent, biological purifier. The ancient temple priests utilized hyssop to cleanse lepers and purify sacred spaces, but its internal physiological effects are astonishing. When consumed as a bitter, medicinal infusion, hyssop releases a flood of powerful flavonoids and volatile oils, particularly pinocamphone, directly into the bloodstream. These compounds act as aggressive expectorants and diaphoretics, but their true miracle lies in their ability to stimulate leukocyte production. Hyssop commands your white blood cells into action, forcing the body to identify, attack, and dismantle circulating pathogens, dead cellular debris, and foreign microscopic invaders. It is the biological equivalent of a sweeping, holy fire through your vascular system, clearing the stagnant pools of infection and leaving behind a purified, hyper-oxygenated bloodstream. Moving deeper into the Holy of Holies, we encounter a resin born from the tears of a wounded desert tree, a substance so highly valued it was presented as a gift to a newborn king alongside gold. Myrrh is deeply embedded in the ancient pharmacopoeia as a master healer of blood stagnation. In ancient Egyptian temples and early biblical apothecaries, myrrh was the ultimate agent of preservation and systemic cleansing. Modern science has recently uncovered the staggering truth behind this ancient intuition. Myrrh is densely packed with rare sesquiterpenes, which possess an extraordinary ability to cross the blood-brain barrier and heavily oxygenate the blood. But its most powerful role is as an unparalleled antiparasitic and antimicrobial blood scrubber. As the heavy, toxic diets of the modern world create a breeding ground for microscopic fungal overgrowth and bacterial infections within the blood plasma, myrrh acts as an uncompromising internal solvent. Its bitter, warming properties actively break down the biofilm shields that these pathogens hide behind within your veins. By dissolving these protective barriers, myrrh allows your immune system to finally flush these hidden biological toxins out of your circulatory system. It fundamentally changes the environment of your blood, turning it from a hospitable host for sickness into a hostile, fortified river of life. Just steps away from the altars of incense, the ancient apothecaries utilized a common yet profoundly misunderstood botanical that built the very empires of antiquity.
The laborers who constructed the Great Pyramids of Egypt were fed massive daily rations of garlic, not for sustenance, but for sheer, unyielding vitality and resistance to plague. The ancient Israelites wept for it in the wilderness, craving its fiery, life-giving essence. The secret of garlic lies in an incredibly volatile, sulfur-rich compound called allicin, which is only created in the exact moment the clove is violently crushed. When this sulfurous nectar enters your bloodstream, it performs a deeply complex chemical miracle known as heavy metal chelation. We live in an industrialized era where neurotoxic metals like lead, mercury, and cadmium are silently accumulating in our soft tissues and bloodstream, causing profound cognitive decay and chronic fatigue. The sulfur compounds in garlic act like microscopic, magnetic hooks. As they travel through your veins, they physically bind to these heavy metal ions, pulling them out of your blood plasma and neutralizing their toxic charge. Once bound, these destructive metals are safely escorted to the liver and kidneys, where they are permanently flushed out of the body in your urine. This ancient temple staple is, in reality, a master biological detoxifier, relentlessly sweeping the venous pathways clear of the heavy, industrialized ash that threatens to shut down your nervous system. Continuing our exploration of the sacred texts, we find an ingredient explicitly commanded by the Creator to be included in the holy anointing oil, a botanical that carried the heavy, sweet scent of divine authority. Cassia, the ancient and more potent cousin of modern cinnamon, was revered not as a simple flavoring, but as a deep, systemic blood mover. In traditional ancient medicine, sickness was often viewed as a result of coldness and stagnation. When blood flow slows down, metabolic waste pools in the extremities, leading to neuropathy, chronic inflammation, and cellular suffocation. Cassia is a profound circulatory stimulant. It is saturated with cinnamaldehyde, a compound that aggressively dilates the blood vessels and forces a rushing, warming current of fresh blood into the deepest, most stagnant microcapillaries of your body. But its cleansing power goes much deeper. In our modern age, our blood is constantly thickened by chronically high blood sugar, a condition that turns our life force into a sticky, inflammatory syrup that damages arterial walls. Cassia profoundly sensitizes your cells to insulin, aggressively pulling excess, toxic glucose out of the bloodstream and forcing it into the muscle tissue where it belongs. By stripping the blood of this sticky, inflammatory sugar, the ancient cassia bark acts as a brilliant, purifying agent, restoring the smooth, effortless flow of your circulation and preventing the microscopic arterial scarring that leads to modern cardiovascular decay. As the smoke of the altar rises, it carries the scent of the ultimate spiritual and physical purifier, a resin tapped from the rugged boswellia tree. Frankincense was the crowning jewel of the ancient temple, burned continuously to create an atmosphere of divine purity. Yet, when ingested as a medicinal tear, frankincense is arguably the most powerful anti-inflammatory blood cleanser in human history. The root of almost every modern chronic disease, from autoimmune conditions to rapid cellular aging, is systemic inflammation, a literal fire burning within your blood vessels. This fire is fueled by a destructive enzyme called 5-LOX, which churns out highly inflammatory molecules called leukotrienes. Frankincense contains deeply complex boswellic acids, which are the only known natural compounds that can successfully hunt down, bind to, and completely shut off the 5-LOX enzyme. When you introduce this ancient resin into your body, it acts as a divine, biological fire extinguisher. It rapidly cools the inflamed, irritated lining of your blood vessels, allowing them to heal. As the inflammation subsides, the blood naturally thins and purifies, no longer burdened by the constant, screaming alarm signals of cellular distress. Frankincense does not just mask the pain of toxicity, it goes to the very molecular root of the fire and suffocates it, returning your blood to a state of cool, calm, restorative peace. In the shadows of the ancient Mediterranean apothecary gardens grew a prickly, fiercely guarded plant that legend claims was marked by the milk of the Virgin Mary. The holy thistle, or milk thistle, has been revered for over 2,000 years as the ultimate, uncompromising defender of the liver. You cannot have clean blood if your primary filtration system is clogged with toxic sludge. Every drop of blood in your body must pass through the liver to be inspected, dismantled, and purified. The seeds of the milk thistle contain an absolute marvel of natural chemistry called silymarin. When silymarin enters your system, it immediately rushes to the liver and physically alters the outer membrane of your liver cells, creating an impenetrable biological shield that prevents dangerous toxins from entering. But its true miraculous power is its ability to aggressively regenerate dead and dying liver tissue. It exponentially increases the production of glutathione, your body's master antioxidant, right inside the liver cells. This surge of glutathione binds to circulating alcohol, synthetic pharmaceuticals, and environmental poisons, stripping them from the blood and neutralizing them forever. By regenerating the temple's ultimate filter, milk thistle ensures that the blood pumped back into your heart is vibrant, pure, and radically cleansed of the lethal burdens of the modern world. As the ancient Israelites prepared for the profound deliverance of the Passover, they were commanded to eat the flesh of the lamb with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. These bitter herbs, often believed to include the ancient dandelion, were not eaten merely for their harsh flavor. They were consumed to trigger a massive physiological purge. Modern diets have entirely stripped the flavor of bitterness from our plates, replacing it with synthetic sweetness, and our blood is paying the ultimate price. The ancient tongue was designed to detect bitterness as a signal to the body to prepare for intense detoxification. When the deeply bitter compounds of the dandelion root touch the palate, they send an electrical shockwave down the vagus nerve directly to the gallbladder. This triggers a violent, necessary contraction, forcing the release of thick, heavy, stagnant bile into the digestive tract. Bile is your body's toxic waste dump. It is where the liver stores the heavy metals, the dead hormones, and the filtered poisons it has pulled from your blood. By forcing the rapid expulsion of this bile, the bitter herbs ensure that these highly dangerous toxins are flushed down the intestinal drain and out of the body, rather than being reabsorbed into the bloodstream. The dandelion is the ultimate, humble master of the purge, demanding that the body let go of the deep, stagnant poisons it has been hoarding. Journeying back to the spice roots that supplied the grand temples of Solomon, we find the golden roots that stained the robes of ancient priests and infused their medicinal broths. Turmeric and its deeply sacred cousin saffron possess a golden pigment that harbors a radical, highly specific blood-cleansing mechanism. Your blood cells are encased in a delicate envelope of lipids, or fats. In the modern world, the massive consumption of rancid, industrial seed oils causes these lipid envelopes to oxidize and literally rust from the inside out, a process called lipid peroxidation. This rusting destroys the blood cell, turning it into a piece of toxic, circulating shrapnel that damages everything it touches. The curcuminoids found deep within the golden turmeric root are fiercely protective, fat-soluble antioxidants. They embed themselves directly into the walls of your blood cells, acting as an ancient biological armor. They actively hunt down and neutralize the free radicals that are trying to rust your cellular membranes. By stopping this lipid peroxidation dead in its tracks, turmeric radically extends the lifespan of your blood cells, preventing the systemic, toxic buildup of dead cellular waste in your veins. It is the golden shield of antiquity, preserving the brilliant, life-giving architecture of your blood against the aggressive decay of the modern diet. Hidden within the accounts of the ancient burials, a final, profound act of reverence is recorded. Nicodemus brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100 pounds weight, to prepare the body of Christ. While aloe is universally known today as a topical ointment for sunburns, the ancient, bitter inner leaf of the aloe vera plant is one of the most profound internal blood purifiers known to man. When consumed, the thick, mucilaginous gel of the aloe acts as a microscopic, biological sponge moving through your internal pathways. It is rich in a complex carbohydrate called asamanin, which aggressively stimulates the macrophages in your bloodstream, the large white blood cells responsible for engulfing and destroying cellular garbage and toxic debris. Furthermore, the aloe gel acts as an incredibly soothing and highly alkaline lubricant for the entire digestive and vascular system. It deeply hydrates the blood plasma, reducing its viscosity and allowing the kidneys to filter out acidic waste with staggering efficiency. It cools the heat of internal inflammation and gently, systematically pulls the lingering, acidic ash of modern living out of the deep tissues, leaving the blood cool, pure, and brilliantly hydrated. Our final descent into the ancient mysteries brings us to the very symbol of peace, endurance, and divine covenant. The olive tree, whose branches shaded the prophets and whose oil fueled the golden menorah of the temple, holds its most aggressive medicinal secret, not in its fruit, but in its silvery green leaf. The ancient Mediterranean healers brewed the leaves of the olive tree to conquer intense fevers and mysterious blood-borne plagues. Today, we know that the olive leaf is fiercely armed with a compound called oleuropein. This is not a gentle cleanser. It is a highly targeted biological assassin. Oleuropein possesses the unique ability to penetrate the protective protein coats of circulating viruses and bacteria in the bloodstream, preventing them from replicating and effectively starving them to death. In a world where our blood is constantly fighting low-grade, chronic infections that exhaust our immune system, the ancient olive leaf steps in as an uncompromising defender. It sweeps through the vascular system, actively dismantling the microscopic pathogens that drain your vitality and restoring the pristine, unconquerable state of your immune defenses. The profound, inescapable truth is that the Creator did not abandon us to the synthetic, toxic horrors of the modern age. The ultimate blueprint for human purification, longevity, and vibrant, unyielding health has been hidden in the sacred texts and the dark soils of the earth since the dawn of time. Your body is a sacred temple, a masterpiece of divine engineering, and it inherently possesses the profound, miraculous capacity to heal, to cleanse, and to regenerate itself, provided you arm it with the ancient tools it recognizes. You no longer have to be a passive victim to the silent, invisible poisons of the modern era, slowly decaying under the weight of industrial toxicity. You hold the absolute power to reclaim your vitality, to flush out the heavy, stagnant darkness of cellular decay, and to step back into the brilliant, vibrant light of true health. If this journey into the lost, healing knowledge of antiquity has awakened a fire within your spirit, if you are ready to reject the synthetic illusions of modern medicine and fully reclaim the profound, ancestral wisdom of the earth, then I urge you to take your place among our community. Subscribe to Lone Oak Remedies right now. Join us as we continue to unearth the sacred, forgotten truths that will heal your mind, purify your blood, and restore your spirit.